Thanks so much for visiting Tina Butty on YouTube. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Hello and welcome back to Tina Butty Podcast. I'm Erica.
And I'm Dominic.
And today is our 200th episode.
200, yay! 200 episodes,
I don't know why that cracks me up, but...
She loves that, that wah, 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 that you hear on YouTube videos, when it's like, yeah, you know what we're talking about.
It reminds me of MTV. I think they played it on Jersey Shore or something like that. I don't know.
Jersey Shore, wasn't it? The whole series was a wah, 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 wah,
But yeah, so for our 200th episode today, we of course have a giveaway.
We're going to be announcing the winner of that shortly.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that because you'll have to listen to this podcast and contact us if you win.
Oh, yes. You're going to have to listen to us.
In order to get the prize. So,
and it's a good prize, Texas tea.
It is a good prize.
Texas tea for me.
Yeah.
No, it's not tea. Well, there's tea.
There's some tea in it.
There's some tea in it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
we did Texas tea for me because whatever,
Texas tea / oil, We're not actually giving oil away. That would be just crazy.
No. But anyway, so to celebrate our 200th episode, I just thought that we would just talk about ourselves.
We're going to talk about ourselves.
Which sounds really bad when it's just like...
Yeah, I mean, you hear it from everyone else, but we're going to talk about ourselves right now. Who we are.
We are, who the podcast is, what does Tina
What's it all
Butty
about?
mean? Yeah, what's it all about? What's going on?
What's it all about, mate?
It's 200 episodes. We need to reflect.
We need to, we do.
We do need to reflect.
We need to remind you who we are.
Yeah, we have new people, and I don't know that we've ever actually done like an introduction to ourselves I think we just kind of started off the podcast with tea. And that was it,
T.
We're like, I'm Dominic, I'm Erica, and this is T,
This is T and a Butty.
Yeah, but
our name.
Our first podcast was about tea, though. I don't think that we ever had like a proper getting to know us kind of episode. Not that I can think of. I think maybe perhaps we've done one-ish for our patrons. Because we do have patrons over on our Patreon page. So I think we've done we've done FAQ. We've done frequently asked questions or Q&A or whatever, over there. So I think those guys know a little bit more about us than possibly our listeners do. Yeah. Unless they follow us on Instagram, in which case they might know a bit more.
Yeah.
But so, we just thought that we would tell you who we were, what the podcast is all about, just kind of like what our episodes have been about and will be about going forward, and just plans.
Well, just who we are, really, yeah. I mean, that's all we can talk about, really, is who we are and what we're about. And I mean, because, people, when they see tea and a butty, they're like, what's that?
Yeah.
What's that all about? Tea and a buddy? Because people think it's Buddy.
Yeah.
And it's like, buddy, who's the buddy?
Yeah, so we'll get to that
We'll get to that, yeah.
First, I think we'll introduce ourselves for any new listeners or any long-time listeners.
Any long-time listeners, any new listeners, yeah.
Who just, hear our voices but don't really know who we are. I'm Erica.
And I'm Dominic.
As we said at the beginning of the podcast.
Yes, we've said that thing as well. I'm Dominic. I'm from the UK.
Yeah. And
originally.
I'm his wife. We're married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is Erica, my wife, and we're married.
We're not just roommates.
We're not just roommates. We're not just,
whatever.
We're not whatever. I mean, because, people might assume that we are married, and they would be correct. It's just, like with people who, like, a man and a woman or whatever, it's just natural, I suppose, to assume that they're married. But anyway.
Yeah. So we are married indeed.
We've been married almost 10 years to the day.
10 years tomorrow, you guys.
Tomorrow, yeah, 10, our 10th anniversary. So where are you sending us?
Yeah.
We're giving you something. You've got to give us something now. So, where are you sending us during this COVID-19 situation?
As you can tell, I'm American. We live in Texas. And we met online.
We met on the internet.
Like
the very thing that you're listening to us on now.
13 years ago?
2007. Is that 13 years? Yeah, it's been 13 years now.
Yeah. At the beginning of 2007, way back in the days of MySpace.
MySpace. This was just when Twitter and, Instagram wasn't even around then, I don't think.
I don't know. I mean, I certainly wasn't on it.
Facebook was just starting. Facebook actually was just a college-only thing.
Yeah,
back
it was.
Then, wasn't it? So, people who didn't go to college, you didn't get on it. But then,
I mean, I went to college and I still wasn't on it, so.
I didn't, and I wasn't on it, so, it was that kind of thing.
But yeah, we met on MySpace. We're both Beatles fans.
We're both Beatles fans. That's pretty much how we met. I mean, I first saw you on a forum.
On a Beatles
forum, yeah. It was Strawberry Fields.
A forum, for those of you youngsters who may not know, because I don't think they're quite as popular as they used to be.
They're only really popular in, like, gossip and
it's like
now.
Reddit. There we go.
It was kind of like Reddit, yes.
Yeah, like an early version of Reddit, although I think Reddit's been around a while, too.
Yeah. Well,
a forum's basically like Reddit. People post topics and other people reply, and you just kind of have conversations, and this was a Beatles one.
It was a Beatles fan forum, yeah. And
I had just joined it, actually. I hadn't been on it
I think
long.
I just joined it, too. I hadn't been on it long, too.
And, in the forum, you could create a profile and sort of have a link to your I'll say social media now, but basically back then it was just like MySpace or,
Yeah.
Maybe if you had a website, you could put it on there. So I had a link to my MySpace, and I guess that's how you found me.
Well, I saw you responding to a couple of my things, and I remember you told me later on, you said, "Oh, I thought you were a girl originally."
Yeah.
And I thought the picture was your boyfriend.
Yeah.
Because I thought that's just what they did. That's what girls do. They put up a picture of their boyfriend or whatever as their profile picture.
So people,
it wasn't. It was me.
Yeah, so people on the forum had pictures of, usually I hadn't seen anybody who had a picture of themselves. So.
I hadn't seen anyone as vain as me.
Apparently. Most people had pictures of, so this is a Beatles forum, so maybe they had a picture of the band, or they had a picture of John Lennon or Paul McCartney, or some people had, Bob Dylan, or maybe just a picture of the Imagine Circle in Central Park, or, just things like that. And then here he was, a picture of himself.
Yeah, back in those days, I looked like the Beatles, Bob Dylan, and everyone else.
And so I just assumed, for whatever reason, that this must be
this girl's boyfriend.
Yeah, it was a picture of you with a guitar, I think. So I thought either it's this girl's boyfriend or it's some guy in a band that this girl likes. You know? It's somebody. I didn't think it was you.
And it was somebody. I was very famous back then, but I've just lost all the fame right now.
And so I had replied to him a couple times on there, but I thought he was a she,
So what's your name, love?
And
I don't know, yeah.
And he followed me over to my MySpace page, which MySpace, for those of you who don't know.
You must have put a link up or something.
I think I had one in my...
Maybe, yeah. I was just like, oh, who is this?
Let me
just go stalk now, as you do.
Just under my name, I think there was a link, And I on my MySpace page. Oh, to back up, MySpace, for anybody who is listening who doesn't know what MySpace is, was
basically like Facebook.
Like Facebook, only better. It was better. I never have liked Facebook as much as I liked MySpace at the time. But I had this voice recorder thing on there. It wasn't
you had a lot of widgets.
It wasn't like Facebook, because it was sort of like an old fashioned GeoCities website.
Yes,
because
it was.
You could add
things on there. You could
add
a lot of
customize
HTML. You had to learn basic HTML to edit your page.
Yeah.
And you could put little voice widgets on there and little things that played music.
You could change
and
the
stuff.
colors and add background images and just all kinds of Yeah, there were like little glittery sparkle things.
I mean,
you
a
could
lot
put
of the
on
stuff
or-
today is made for smartphones, so that kind of stuff doesn't exist anymore. But back
Mhm.
then it was computers and, like monitors and stuff, and people had speakers and, so it was kind of like,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Mhm.
And yeah, you had this answer phone thing that I
Yeah.
could, if you had a microphone on your computer or whatever, you could leave a voice message. And you had like,
And it would be
you had
public.
tons of them.
Everybody could hear it. Anybody who visited my MySpace could play it and just listen to, I think I could go in and delete if I wanted to, or I could just leave them.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had just visitors to the page. Like, you could, instead of like leaving me a little message on the page, like, hi, how are you doing? You could just record your voice and leave it on there. It was basically that. So one day I went on there and checked it, and I had this voice message that was like, oh, this is Paul McCartney. This is Paul McCartney.
Well, really?
It was just like, and I knew it was not Paul McCartney, but it was just like, who in God's name is this?
Hello, Erica. This is Paul McCartney here. This is a fab page. This is great. I really like your page. I think we've still got them somewhere.
We sound like absolute lunatics right
we
now.
We are lunatics. That's why we married each other.
And so some other people that would visit my page heard that, and so this other guy was replying, and he was pretending to be, I think, John.
It was like,
and it went on,
like,
and then somebody
Paul,
else.
what you doing? It just got into like a thing, like, hey, Paul, what you doing?
Several people were leaving messages back and forth, and everybody was asking me, who was that? Who was that Paul McCartney guy? I was like, I have no idea.
It's like, who was that guy? And you put it out like as a status thing. You was like, who was that guy? Who is he?
Yeah.
Because I didn't, you don't know who it is. There's no like user so and so left this message or whatever.
No, it was just a
completely
message.
anonymous.
Yeah.
And so I kept checking back every once in a while, and I heard that people pretending to be John, George, and Ringo, whoever, and people going to go, hey, Erica, who's that guy who's pretending to be Paul McCartney? That was pretty funny,
Yeah.
And you finally came out and said, okay, who's that Paul McCartney? And I think I messaged you then. I said it was me.
You said, oh, I don't know who it was, but he was a pretty cool guy or something like that. I was like, what?
I don't know who that guy was, but he was pretty cool.
I was like, who
and he
are
was.
you? Anyway,
and he was.
This is more information than you need to know, but that's
yeah,
how
we're
we
absolute
met.
lunatics. That's what you know.
That's how we met.
That's how we met.
We started talking on there after that, and then
one thing led to another. The usual, the rest is history type thing.
Yeah, so we were talking online, and then back on MSN Messenger, and then on the phone.
She used to send me, they back in the day, they used to be called emoticons, not emojis. And she'd send a lot of emoticons to me through MSN. Like the sideways S, remember that one?
Oh, yes.
The little confused face, and the one...
You remember you could zap people on MSN?
You could
the whole thing would
go... Yes, it would go... Like
that,
yeah, that used to... Because I used to wear headphones, and, it'd be just quiet or something like that, and, I'd be doing something else in another window, and she'd zap me on thing, it would go... like that, and it would be loud, and I'd go, oh!
Oh my god. Anyway, so we would chat on that. We would chat on the phone, and we talked for about a year.
About a year. Well, it was a good 11 months. I'd say.
It just so happened. Good 11 months. It just so happened that I had been looking for someone to go to Europe with me because I was just about out of college. I think I had just graduated college. Sort of recently
about a year or so before, yeah.
And I was like, okay, I need to go travel now, and I just could not get anybody to commit to going with me, and I was getting really annoyed because I was like, time is flying by here, I'm like, I'm getting old now.
I'm getting old now. You were what, 24?
I'm getting old now. It's like people are wasting my time, and
yeah,
so,
people were like saying, "Oh, I'll come to Europe with you," and then they were like,
and
"Nah."
And then when it came, okay, are we ready? Let's book the trip. And they're like, I don't actually have the money, which is fair enough. Don't actually have the money
to go to Europe, and where is Europe anyway?
fair enough.
That place doesn't exist.
You don't have the money. Oh, please, what an excuse!
What an excuse! How dare you?
But anyway, so I was sort of like already trying to psych myself up to go by myself, which I had been out of the country to Mexico by myself, but that was it. I mean, not by myself. I kind of went with friends, actually. So I was not by myself at all, actually. But that was as out of the country as I had been, and definitely not alone. So I was psyching myself up. I was like, okay, maybe. And I never really had much interest in going to the UK for some reason.
You didn't care about it. No,
I wanted to go to Italy.
Italy. She was on Italian forums talking to all the little Italian guys.
Italy, France.
And French guys.
Mostly Italy.
Yeah,
no.
You and your French guys and your Italian guys.
Italy was my ultimate. That's really where I wanted to go. But I was like, okay, I don't speak Italian yet. I was trying to learn some, trying to teach myself some. It wasn't happening so much, but so I was like, okay, maybe Britain, because they speak English there, and I'll be able to, like, get around on my own and whatever. So then I met Dominic, and I was like, oh, hey, he's British.
He lives in the UK.
This is kind of convenient. And so we talked, and then I was like, hey, how about I come over there?
How about I come over and live with you for like a month or whatever? It wasn't a month. It was 2 weeks,
He wasn't the first time. Yeah, it was only 2 weeks, I think, the first time I went to Britain. Yeah.
We did a little itinerary and everything.
And so I went over there then at the end.
Yeah, we met up in London in person in December. Yeah. Was it December 5th or something? Wasn't it?
Oh, God, I don't know.
December 5th.
Was it 10 o'clock in the morning?
It was, no. Are we going to get into that?
We're not. They don't need all the details.
Yes, they do. You want all the details, don't you?
Anyway, so that's what happened. We met in person. We traveled around Britain, and we took a trip to Paris, and just kind of traveled around Britain for 2 weeks.
Liverpool,
I came back.
All the hot spots.
I came back to America. I went back to visit them the next year, and it was just like we were
When she came back to America, she was exactly like, if you've seen Cheers, there's an episode where Woody the barman comes back from the UK and he's seeing all this British stuff. That's what you were like, apparently. Your mother told me that. I tell you, she was insufferable. She was like, in Britain we do this.
Oh, they don't do that in Britain.
They don't do that in Britain. They don't do that. It's a fortnight from now.
Okay, so then we visit each other back and forth for a few years, and then we decided to get married.
Yeah, that's what happens, you see. We just visited each other, and then we decide, we may as well get married now, because it's easier to we may as well travel together as married people.
Yeah, so that's
what we did.
We visited, we dated online and met up with each other.
And then online again, and in person. It was like
for like 3 years
until distance.
Yeah, for like 3 years until long distance was enough already.
Yeah.
It was getting expensive.
It was getting expensive coming back and forth and all that,
Yeah.
People don't have the money to go to Europe these days.
And we had to do the visa and all of that. And
do the visas, because there was like 2 or 3 of them.
Well, yeah.
And, people ask, it was 10 or so years now. People ask us now, what did you do to get over there? And how was it? And what was the process? And I need to know. And the visa. And it's just like, it's all changed now. We could not tell you.
Well, we've done a podcast.
We've done a podcast about it. We've done an episode about it.
Yeah, not so long ago, where we kind of like researched a bit more updated information about all the different ways that you can
governments change, rules change,
legally go to Britain from America or to America from Britain. So it's not exactly the same, but I think mostly it is.
It's mostly the same, there's the same set rules, but of course there's like little sub rules and there's amendments and all this kind of stuff to the rules, and it's like,
So go listen to that podcast if you want more detailed information.
Yes.
About how to do it. Yeah. So we decided after, I don't know, years and years of Dominic living here.
Years and years. I've been here 10 years now.
I mean, we ran a Beatles website together for a few years.
And we did a podcast with that.
Yeah. It was a Beatles podcast.
Yeah, the Beatles through the years.com.
Yeah.
Well, it's not .com
and
anymore,
while there's a lot of things to talk about regarding the Beatles, you kind of run out of topics after a while, because
and because our earlier podcasts, they were using Beatles music.
Yeah.
We couldn't put them up on we couldn't like make money off them or anything like that, so they weren't monetized, as you say today,
Yeah.
So it was purely just a hobby.
Yeah.
And we had guests and everything on. We'd have a ton of guests on there,
We had some authors.
Authors and fans, and it was basic. That's what I kind of envisioned it being. It's like by the fans for the fans,
Yeah.
And I mean, that website's still up. It's the Beatles Through the Years .blogspot.com now.
Yeah.
And but after a while we decided we should just talk about our shared experience, just talk about life,
because
and chats and over tea and a butty,
Well, people ask us questions all the time. Oh, well,
how did you two meet? What's it like being in America?
Yeah.
That kind of. It was mainly that kind of stuff.
So many people from my family, friends, etc., have so many questions for Dominic. And then just being together and being from two different countries. I mean, you think that Britain and America are quite similar, but there's a lot of differences.
Yes, I mean, all these people who think that going to, I always see, these Americans, people who say I'd love to live in England.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'd love to, I know so much about English culture and stuff, and some of them do, but most of them don't.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's kind of evident with people who have just gone to England, and they vlog their journey or whatever. They blog about it. And they're just like, it is quite different here. I expected it to be exactly the same as America.
Yes.
But just different money and different accents.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not. It's a different country too. It's like,
There's a lot of similarities.
Oh, of course there's a lot of similarities.
But there's way more differences than you would think.
Yeah.
Even in the language.
I'll be honest, when I first moved here, I thought it wasn't going to be that different to the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And, by and by, it's not.
Yeah.
But it is at the same time. There's a lot, obviously different laws and obviously different cultures.
No nationalized healthcare.
Well, yeah, that too. I mean, I have to pay for my healthcare now,
Mm-hmm.
and, so I have to find the money for that.
Yeah.
But, not just that, just everything, just kind of like the way things are done. Here, it's different. It's like you try to get something done and they're just like, oh, well, it's not, it's not like it is back in the old country. It's like, like that old term that they used to use as, back in the old country, So it's like, it's a little bit, sometimes it's very frustrating. Sometimes it's like, that's simple enough.
Yeah.
Couldn't do that back in the UK,
But so over time, we have just had so many conversations about all of these differences and everything. We decided, and I don't know why it took us so long to realize that this was a thing that other people might think was interesting. But it did, for whatever reason.
Yeah, I mean, we decided, let's do this. And so here we are 200 episodes later doing it.
Yeah, so that's where Tea and a Butty was born. Basically, we were just like, let's have some of these conversations that we've already kind of had sometimes, either between the two of us or with our friends and family. Let's do them in a podcast format and see if other people find it interesting. Let's get, their input and stuff. And let's back up for a second because we need to talk about the name. You mentioned it before.
The name Tea and a Butty. It was born out of the Beatles Through the Years.
Beatles Through the Years, yeah.
Which became TBTTY.
Mm-hmm.
And so Tibbity, Tibbity, that was kind of how I shortened it because the Beatles Through the Years is a long name, it was. But that came from a poster I saw once in my music class, funnily enough, in school. Someone had the Beatles Through the Years, and it just had their whole career in pictures, or their albums or whatever, And I was just like, that's actually really cool. The Beatles Through the Years, and that's what it's kind of is, It's like all of them through the years. But anyway, that's when we were looking for a name. I just said Tea and a Butty, Tea and a Butty, Tea and a Butty, and Butty. Butty means sandwich. in British.
Mm-hmm. In British.
In British.
British English, yeah.
In British English, yeah. You know, like a sarnie would as well. You know, sometimes people go, oh, sarnie, you know, means sandwich. Or a butty means like buttered bread. And that's another thing. Yes.
I was going to say, it means a disgusting sandwich.
For some reason, there's a heavy resistance to putting butter on bread for like sandwiches over here, you know.
Bread with butter and then just like deli sliced chicken.
Delicious.
The end.
It's like, oh, why do you do that?
Or bacon. Bread with butter and bacon. It's like,
oh, okay, that is delicious.
Okay, if it's toast. If it's toast with bacon, then it's like a BLT.
Oh, it's fine if it's toast.
Okay.
Why is the bread got to be toasted?
So this conversation right here is where the podcast came from.
Yeah,
why.
this you know that the old arguments.
Yeah,
that's basically what it is. It's like, you know, we sit in bed going, why do you have to do that?
Why do you do it like that? That's disgusting. Oh, well, why do you do it like that?
Well, yeah. And so we thought, let's stick a microphone on this and record it and let everyone hear it. Inflict this argument on everyone and get people talking. And I'm sure people who are listening right now are going, yeah, why do you do it like that? Why do you put butter on your bread? I'll kill you. You know? It's just like, and you know, it's like we watch YouTubers and stuff, and you know, like, and there's a trend with like Americans.
Yeah.
Going to Britain and going, oh, I don't know, I don't like this. And this is and you know, there's a lot of Brits in the comments who are like, oh, what are you doing? Oh gosh, you're supposed to be doing like this. You're not supposed to be doing like that. Ah.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny, you guys, because we've been doing this now. We're coming up on our 3rd year with this 200th episode.
We're eventually going to start making videos.
It's starting our third year this month because we began this podcast in November of, you know, whatever, a couple years ago.
I think it was 2018.
And, you know, at the time, I don't know how aware we were of other people doing this kind of content.
We weren't.
I think maybe we had seen the YouTubers Joel and Leah. I'll give them a shout out here.
Yeah,
because
Joel and Leah,
because
maybe,
I think we probably had seen some of that. I don't know that they were the reason we started this podcast. I think we just happened to have seen that, and then, you know, we decided. I don't remember going, oh, let's do what they're doing, you know. But it seems like since then, there's been a lot of that type of content popping up on YouTube.
I mean, we didn't start the trend.
No.
You know, I mean, you know, and it's just something that's happened because of the internet.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because in America, there's still, you know, I expect everyone knows this now. Everyone knows that nappy means diaper and diaper means nappy. Mm-hmm. And, you know, as it was my experience of coming over here, I already knew a lot of American terminology because I watched it growing up. And that's a lot of British people say that. And they, oh, well, I already know your culture because I saw it.
Yeah.
I watched Friends. I watched ER. I watched, you know, Hill Street Blues. I watched My Wife and Kids, man. You know?
Yeah.
You know, that was something I said, My Wife and Kids. You'd be like, that's like a show that nobody watches over here. Why is that?
That kind of thing surprised me, that, you know, the amount of American shows that you guys got in Britain. And so all of these kinds of topics that we're mentioning right now are all things that we thought, well, let's talk about this in a podcast. You know, people might find this we find it interesting, so other people might find it interesting.
Yeah.
And so we came up with the Tea and a Buddy. Why Tea and a Buddy? Dominic explained, because basically the TBTTY from the Beatles through the years sort of sounded like Tea and a Buddy.
And it's having a chat with tea and a buddy.
Yeah.
I mean,
like
you
you're
could be
sitting
drinking
down
your
at a table.
You're listening to the episode of the podcast. You're listening to the podcast. You've got a cup of tea, if you like
your
tea.
Little sandwich.
And you're eating a little sandwich, you know, whatever you like. Cheese butty, you know, jam butty.
It could just be tomatoes, couldn't it? You know?
Raw
Unless
tomatoes.
You're Dominic. Yeah, it could be a tomato and cheese sandwich.
Well, if you like cheese and tomato sandwiches, more power to you.
But yeah, so that's what we thought. You know, it's kind of a quaint little name, because it's like you're sitting at a table, you're eating your sandwich, you're drinking your tea, and you're just having a chat with a friend, or, you know, or a family member or whatever. And so that is what this podcast is.
Yeah.
We hope You are not coming here for 100% factual research, like information. We hope you're not like writing a paper in college based on the things that we're saying.
If you are, then please let us know if you have done that, and the professor has given you an A or whatever, saying this is great stuff, man. Whoever you got your research from, they are scholars. It's just, we're not. I mean, definitely not a scholar. I mean, I know things. I know some things. It's like, but I don't know everything.
We're just having a casual
Unlike
chat.
many YouTubers and stuff out there.
We try not to do these kind of internet trends of 10 reasons why blah blah blah.
Sometimes we do, though.
Sometimes we do,
because it's fun to go over them, and it's a topic, at the end of the day.
For me, I personally like reacting to some of these lists that you can find on the internet.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit here and be like, and maybe I'm saying this now. Maybe we will when we start making videos. Maybe it'll be.
We're going to be reacting to you.
Maybe it'll be an easy thing to do, but I don't like just looking things up and kind of regurgitating them. I want to have like a very organic chat. And if you guys have been listening to us for a long time, then you'll know that we don't have like pages and pages of we don't have pages and pages of notes.
I
don't know how funny we are.
We are very funny. People are laughing at us out there. Not with us, at us.
But so that's what our podcasts are about. And we have no intention of making every single podcast like Britain versus America this, or, America versus Britain that. Sometimes, obviously, if you listen to us, we talk about a show that we've been watching.
Oh, yes, we watch a lot of television on the computer.
Or we talk about music, because we're both, like, super into music,
Yeah, and I mean, we do name that tune on Instagram, so if, tomorrow, yeah. I forget what day it is. The lockdown, the pandemic, everything has just got me all screwed up.
No, today.
Today.
We do it on Thursdays.
It's Thursdays. Okay, yeah today. I do a Name That Tune, and it frustrates a lot of people because, sometimes the chords, that could be 100 different songs all the time.
Yes.
Every day.
But yeah, so we like to just have a chat. We try not to talk about too serious things most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, we try to steer clear of the topics of politics and religion. I mean, as of late,
just like, not
if
even
you
just
followed us on
those.
Instagram, we kind of got into a little bit of trouble with a couple of people over the politics, and stuff. And it's just not nice, people being nasty and all that kind of stuff. It's not good. I mean, we'd never be nasty to anyone, really, But, that we understand there's people out there that will, and, we just got to kind of steer clear of it,
Well, it's kind of a difficult thing, because on one hand, we don't want to bring you guys down with like talking about really serious, like depressing stuff, because you can go to the news for that,
Yeah, I mean, the news will cover you on that. I mean, if you want that.
I mean, sometimes we feel like
we have to talk about things like the pandemic.
Yeah,
and,
some things are just so big that it's like we can't
ignore it.
Not mention it, at least, But as much as we want to keep things light and just have a chat, have a debate now and then about, who does what better, I also don't want to be one of these content creators who tiptoes around things just to keep their audience. That does not mean that we do not appreciate you guys, but we want to be who we are. You know what I mean?
I think that's all anyone wants to be, really.
We don't want to have to hide who we are. We don't want to sell out, basically, who we are just to make a buck.
Yeah, I mean, obviously people have to make a living.
It's like, we make a living and everything, and this is, what it's saying, but we don't want to be selling out to people just to... Yeah.
That goes against our own beliefs, just for the money,
Because I'm completely respectful.
We're trying to be real,
Right. I'm completely respectful of whatever people believe, but at the same time I have my own beliefs, and some beliefs I'm quite passionate about. And we try not to like Dominic said, go into too deeply into politics and religion and stuff on here.
Controversial issues, shall we say, you know.
Yeah, because that's just not what this show is about. But at the same time, if
our audience demand that
if something's happening and I want to comment on it and you don't like the way I comment and you want to throw a fit, then I mean that's your prerogative.
That's your prerogative.
100%. That is your option. You can choose to feel that way. You can choose to not listen to us if you want to. We hope that you will continue to listen to us, you know. But yeah.
You can burn our podcast.
Yeah.
You can burn our podcast and then rebuy it.
Yeah.
Rebuy the computer.
Yeah. So when we have no intention of being like purposefully controversial, but at the same time we don't want to hide, you know, who we are and pretend to be something we're not, just to keep our numbers up.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
So I think we've pretty much covered everything. If you guys don't know, we have a website.
teeandabuddy.com. It's fixed now. That's going to be the running joke throughout everything, because I had a problem with it last month.
Yeah.
And it was with the domain hosting. This is riveting stuff. I know you've tuned in for this. And it was very frustrating at the time, so I had to kind of take it offline, and then we transferred the domain, and now everything's back up and running. We're teeandabuddy.com. We asked you, because that was the time we asked you if we were going to change our name to teabuddy.com.
Because on social media, we're TeaButty, TeaButty. Across all of our social medias, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, we are TeaButty. So we were a little bit like, oh, should we change the website to TeaButty? It's shorter than
We might buy up all the domain names. TeaBuddy, TeaBuddy with 2 D's instead of 2 T's.
But yeah. But it was overwhelmingly, you guys thought that we should stay with teeandabuddy.com. So that's what we've done. And that is our website. You can find all of this information, I mean, everything that we've talked about in this podcast, on our About section on the website.
Yeah.
We do also have an Amazon shop, which is not an actual physical shop where we have stocked everything in it, but we've sort of just curated certain products.
Erica did a good job of stocking the shelves in that one. She was like stocking like a little monkey, you know, just there.
So basically you can go into our Amazon shop, see things that we recommend, and you're just going to buy them from whoever it is that is selling them, and we make a little bit of a commission off of that.
Yeah.
So we've kind of gone in and chosen a bunch of different British stuff that we like, a bunch of different American stuff that we like. I don't know that I ever finished all of the American products for any British listeners that we have, but then we'll get around to
We occasionally get questions of like, you know, what's that like, and what does that taste like? And
what were the best biscuits, and you know, biscuits meaning cookies.
Best Oreo flavors, because there's a billion different Oreo flavors. Oreos are in the UK, but I think it's just kind of like mint and orange cream, and that's about it. There's only like 3 flavors, whereas over here they've got like banana cream Oreos and all this kind of stuff, and they are excellent. I mean, when I first had an Oreo, I didn't really think it was all that great, but it's come to grow on me, man.
Hashtag not sponsored. I don't know why we're going on about Oreos.
We're not sponsored by Oreos. I just haven't had an.
Or do you dunk?
I haven't had an Oreo in months.
We've been on a sugar detox.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have the Amazon shop on the website. I know this podcast is running way over time, so we got to speed this up.
No, it's okay. This is a special feature-length podcast.
As we've mentioned.
It's our reunion movie.
As we've mentioned, we do have Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And we're very active, actually, on Instagram. So if you guys have Instagram, be sure you follow us over there.
We're talking all the time on there.
Yeah, we go out on walks, and we post all the animals that we run into, and you know, other exciting things like that. That doesn't sound very interesting.
It's really cute though, because we come into contact with a lot of wildlife.
We do, yeah.
And we've had rave reviews from them too.
Yeah.
That little bunny last night, he was raving about us.
We also have a Patreon page. If you would like to support us on Patreon and become a patron, you get different benefits from being a patron. We're going to be adding some more benefits on there. Basically, it's like if you want to become a patron, you go on there and you donate a certain amount of money per month, and then you receive different perks per month, different access to things. So, so we've got actually a patron-only podcast coming up later on this month. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I think
all our patrons who listen to our regular thing, you've got that to look forward to.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate the support of our patrons, 100%.
Yes.
Yeah,
wonderful people.
But I think that pretty much wraps it up, except for the giveaway.
Oh yes, the giveaway, the part you've skipped all the rest of it for.
Yes, the part you've skipped to. You're here. You're finally here.
You're finally here.
What we've done this time, last time, if you've been listening for a while, we did a giveaway around this same time last year of British stuff, and we put them in a hat. We printed out all the names and on little slips of paper and did it like the old-fashioned way where we drew names out of a hat. This time we've kind of cheated. Because we just went to a website.
We haven't cheated. That's we haven't cheated anything.
Well, we went to a website and we just entered in the names. Like that's cheating as far as.
It's cute. It looks like Wheel of Fortune.
We didn't put in as much effort this time. You know, we went to these random name generator websites and we just typed all your names in.
Sajak.
But yeah, so I think now is the time. Dominic's entered them all into the random name generator, and we're gonna click it. It's a wheel. It's a little wheel we've got here.
Like Wheel of Fortune.
All right, spin. I don't know if the microphone's picking up. It's very exciting. And the winner is... Mallory Kalina
on Instagram.
Yay! So thank you very much for entering, Mallory. You have until, the end of the day on Sunday night. So
the end of the day on Sunday, yeah.
We'll give you till Monday morning to contact us. Yeah. And if we don't hear back from the winner, then we will draw again. So, Mallory Kalina!
Woo! Well, now, that was an exciting episode, wasn't it?
We hope you guys were interested.
It was thrills, it was spills, it was chills. And it's on the... Okay.
I'm just like, okay.
It was our 200th episode.
I cannot even
And I hope you're not all drunk from all the Prosecco and champagne and everything that you've been drinking.
Yeah.
To celebrate.
Margaritas.
If you're in Texas, you've been on the margaritas. And you better be on the margaritas because that's the only way you should listen to our podcast. Because it makes it 20 times more fun.
That's the only way you can listen.
As reviewed by the Radio Times.
Oh my God. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. Yeah. We appreciate your support as always. We never would have made it to 200 episodes if you guys weren't tuning in.
Yeah, we crossed the finish line. We can finish now.
Yeah, we're starting our 3rd year of podcasting this year, and we'll hopefully we'll be beginning YouTube videos.
We're going to start YouTube videos. Year, 2020, I think, is a good year to start.
2020 is not a good year for anything, okay?
It's very good.
But anyway, so contact us, Mallory Kalina. You've won the Texas giveaway.
Mallory Kalina, everybody.
And we will talk to you all, guys. We'll talk to you all, guys.
All guys.
We'll talk to all of you guys next time. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.